Super Supportive by Sleyca. Chapter 240, Hopping, Part 1. The dorm laundry room was a lawless place this Saturday evening, under attack by villains who would take a man's soggy clothes out of the dryer and leave them in a pile on top of it for him to find when he came back downstairs, a minute before the cycle was supposed to end. If the culprit's own clothes had still been there, Alden might have cooked up some mild revenge, but they'd made a clean getaway. It was probably Shoe Pisser. His legs were stretched out in front of him while he sat with his back to the dryer. His messenger bag was in his lap, emptied of its contents so that he could look at it inside and out and appreciate it anew. Forgetful traveler's bag. It'll try to make its way back to me. That made him feel like the bag liked him, and now he was even more attached to it. Good bag, he said, giving it a pat. You and me. We're going to do things together. Done examining it for the moment, he switched to looking over his class options for next quarter. He'd been assuming he'd add a math or science course, or maybe try to get into one of Instructor Plim's classes, but now he was eyeballing one called The Contract, yesterday, today, tomorrow, and wondering what the chances were that the teacher would lecture on the topic he'd fumbled in the taxi with Stuart. How do I think a knight should call and command an avowed? What do I think is right? When he tried to think about anything but really obvious scenarios from the point of view of a person who had the ability to make choices about the lives of others, his brain gave him static. It's probably more of a class that combines history lessons with conjectures on future effects of the system on Earth anyway, not one that easily answers questions like this. It's Mountain Dew! Someone shouted suddenly. You have to know about Mountain Dew! Alden blinked at the volume and level of distress. That was definitely Jeffy, just down the hall in the common room, advocating for his favorite drink. Cone's gift from the Art family was a cup about the size of a standard mug, minus the handle, that had occupied the adjuster and half of their class all day, as far as Alden could tell. When Cone poured a beverage in it, then drank most of it down to a line on the interior, the walls of the cup would begin to sweat beads of the drink, until it was full again. According to what Olorn Art had told Cone, anyway. Alden didn't think Cone had had the patience to let it refill all the way. As soon as he saw the droplets forming, he always drank it, rinsed the cup and dried it, then poured in whatever the next beverage his curious audience had brought him was. Cone was telling everyone most of the truth about his trip. Alden had asked him not to mention arts or knights, but it would have been way too ungrateful to request that Cone pretend the whole thing had been boring. No souvenirs, no pictures. Say I asked you to help out some wizard in F-City who cracked their wand doing construction work. That would have made my life easier, but I don't want to be that much of a buzzkill. Especially not with Cone, who was even more thrilled than the average teenager would be to have gone on a quick adventure to Artona 1, saved the day with his skill, and come home with a magical object that nobody else on Earth had ever admitted to having in their own cupboards. According to Haoyu, who'd been reading the website of some rich person whose hobby was collecting enchanted dishes when Alden made it back to the dorm, there were drinking vessels that held more liquid than they should, ones that prevented the contents from mixing or separating, and a glass known to poison anyone but its owner, along with several more types. But none of the ones on this list multiply drinks. There are some avowed who can do that and some expensive equipment, but no cups, Haoyu had said. He'd been sitting in the living room at the relocated kitchen table because Lute had decided to practice on Angela Aubergine in the middle of the kitchen for some reason. Haoyu held up the tablet to show Alden a picture of the poison glass. Cone's lucky his cup only works for him, or this collector would be out to get him. It only works for him? He said the wizard made him bleed into it to make it his. Oh, she did that with something she gave me, too. Collectors don't actually need to be able to use something to want to acquire it, Lute said. A lot of them just want to have the rarest things in their possession regardless. Where's the dish collector at? Belgium. Cone never goes to Belgium. Danger averted. And as for the danger posed by Lexi, Alden can just have his wizard summon him away until he gets over it all. I don't have wizards, said Alden. I was just in the presence of wizards when something important broke, and that's Cone's area of expertise. Of course I thought of him. I called him and got permission before I even said his name to anyone there. It was quick, safe, and good practice. He exhausted his skill so fast. This was a rare opportunity for him to read a unique object. I think he learned from it. Took him to a train station and bought him things and didn't let him eat any of the food there until we'd asked the system if it was safe. By my unexpected and unleveled powers, said Lute, smirking at him. You're scared of Lexi. I am not. You've got that whole spiel planned for fending him off. I'm not scared of him. I just feel bad because he let you paint his face to help me out, and then I kidnapped his brother. Cone gave him of his own free will. I just know Lexi doesn't like out-of-the-ordinary happenings to come at him unexpectedly. And he's a little overprotective for someone who seems annoyed by Cone so often. How you remember him asking me why I gave Cone's own teeth back, don't you? Like he thought he should hold on to them instead. Where is he, by the way? Right behind you, Hal said. He and Lute had a great laugh at Alden's expense when he turned around trying to appease the anger of the empty air at his back with an apology. It turned out Lexi was in F-City, babysitting Irina while his parents took care of some things. Hao and Lute didn't think he should be mad for what that was worth. Might be a guilty conscience making me more anxious than I should be. Cone had asked Alden not to tell about the block on people, most people, summoning him. And he wouldn't because it was way more Cone's business than anyone else's, no matter how much Lexi would want to know and worry over it. Stuart was going to ask his parents what they knew about it and report back. Alden couldn't think of a better way to help. Maybe Cone already asked and found out himself, if he had the chance. Behind him, the dryer stopped tumbling, and he got up to collect his clothes, feeling a little disappointed that he hadn't heard from Bo. Hanging out guarding a dryer would have been a good time to text back and forth. Alden had sent a message the minute he'd made it back to Earth, but Bo had said he was busy. Scoping out another person to help? That would make for an interesting call soon. Alden had enjoyed witnessing Bo's good deeds so far. It would be nice if he found another one at the right difficulty level. You are in here. That guy was right. He's in here! Alden turned, his stuffed laundry bag in one hand. The first thing he saw was a boy he didn't know shoving a load in the washer so fast that a person unfamiliar with Earth might have thought being found with dirty underwear in your possession was illegal. He wasn't the one who'd spoken. Standing just inside the doorway, wearing a very short skirt and a pair of silver bunny ears that matched her oversized sweater, was a familiar face. Emilija, what are you doing in my laundry room? Getting you, she said. Bird napper, Mr. Bad to Birds, turkey taker. Your English language learning seems biased in an unusual direction. Emily just sliced her throat with a finger. Ooh, that's a good one. There's this guy with Feather in his name, and I did kill him in gym class once. What are you doing here? Lute's upstairs. I can show you to our room if you want. We're here for you. If you're not surprised, it's your own fault for not checking your texts. I hope there's something in that bag other than t-shirts. Oui? Elias's Saturday Morning Show, episode 473, Alden Thorne. Clip begins at 12 minutes 14 seconds. On a bright Friday afternoon, 3 teenage girls burst out of an apartment building in Midtown Apex, each carrying a bag marked with the holographic logo of a Unistudent's new celebrity consulting business. I don't think she has a celebrity client. Not even one, said Hadiza, turning her head to look back at the building behind them, before facing her friends on the busy sidewalk again. I embarrassed her when I asked, didn't I? You might have a little bit, Natalie said, but I'm sure it's fine. And I could consult celebrities for that amount of money. Stop saying stupid things. Stand up straight. More appeal, Emilija barked. You paid too much for these fancy business cards, Natalie. You did pay a lot, Hadiza agreed. I did not know they would cost this much when you said you'd give them to us for holiday presents. I had enough left, Natalie said easily. And these cards will help us to be really memorable. We can't expect the old rabbits to take us seriously if we just arrive like everybody else and hide in a corner. And handing them something makes it awkward for them not to hand us something, like an invitation to a hop party. This is our first social season as Anisidorans. It will set a tone. I want to do it right. Hadiza frowned. You had enough money? Not plenty. Are you poor now? I want to do it right too, but it might be hard to get out of the corner as an F. There's probably a pen in the corner where they make us stay, Emilija was grumbling. Natalie, you bought a new ice cream machine yesterday. That was expensive too. What was wrong with the old one? Too loud. I wanted one I could run when you two are sleeping or studying. Emilija, I will not let anyone put you in the corner pen. You saved our lives last month. You're a small, vicious hero who crushes evil avowed beneath your feet. Don't worry about the money, either of you. A lot of people want to pay for meals, including that boy. That boy who likes my food and my friendship and not the other things you two were so sure he liked. Natalie, said Emilija, are you... Crossing light! Let's run to catch it! Natalie took off, the bag in her hand swinging, its logo tinkling in the sunlight. When her friends caught up to her on the opposite sidewalk, Emilia said, "Are we asking Alden to come with us tomorrow night or not? You keep changing your mind." "We can just find him when we get there," said Hadiza. "You're assuming he's going to go. He might not if nobody tells him he should." Natalie watched a line of drones coming in for a landing at a building's upper delivery floor. No. Alden's working out some important stuff in his life, and he's going back and forth to the Triplanets some. And it hasn't been that long since he tried to kill himself with a pita so that he wouldn't have to talk to me. Emilia, don't laugh! You laugh like you've gone crazy! Hadiza was giggling more normally than the Lithuanian girl whose cackles were attracting attention. "So no," Natalie said, chopping the air in front of her with one hand. "We won't ask him to go with us, even though together we would form an unbeatable team." "What if he's there anyway?" Hadiza asked. "Then we ask him to form an unbeatable team with us, but no inviting him. It's too late now anyway. I've made up my mind for the final time." Not being invited to arrive with the best group at the rabbit welcome will be his punishment for— "I am not someone who punishes people for rejecting me," Natalie squawked. "I hate people like that." "For the turkey, my beautiful bird. Not everything is about you, Natalie." Emilia shook her head dramatically. "He's committed worse crimes." "You do realize there would have been no turkey without Natalie?" Natalie's face reddened. Then she gasped. "Oh, Emilia, you need to call him Fowl because it sounds like foul. On Trime. Have you done that pun yet? Maybe it's too obvious?" Alden was in the middle of apologizing and explaining that he'd adjusted his message priority because of the number of excited but unimportant texts he was getting from the people Cohn had spoken to today, but then he saw the message Emilia meant. "You guys only texted me 20 minutes ago. I'm not that late replying." "So foul," said Emilia. "That's a harsh and strange word. Maybe she means something else?" "We decided on the way to the ferry that you should come with us because it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. You shouldn't be left out." "What is it?" The text message from Natalie to a group that included him, Hadiza, and Emilia said, "If you're not there already, you should come with us." "The annual event for new rabbits." "Right. Forgot that was today." "Of course you did. You're lucky we've all come to help you." Emilia looked behind you. "We were all here. I think Natalie got distracted." Alden followed her while trying to simultaneously carry his laundry, research the new rabbit thing, explain that he'd only had a short nap since returning from Artona 1, and remember everything that Natalie had said about wanting to go to this and subsequent events that could somehow be accessed through it. "I have to be in bed by 11. I won't be able to look Yenu Pezeth in the face otherwise." It looked like the celebration/conference/hobnobbing had started at 5:30 p.m. and would only last until 9:30, so it wasn't out of the question, except for how very little he wanted to socialize with strangers tonight. "Think of what Neha would say if you didn't go at all. I bet there are people waiting there desperate to invite you to their hop parties," Emilia said as she led the way back to the common room. "I'm partied out right now. Really partied out. The last one I went to involved throwing people into ceiling nets, and a woman growled at me while we had combatants riding on top of our shoulders. And that was only a little while ago." The common room, which had been rowdy minutes before, was much quieter now. Around 50 people, a mix of Magic Cup enthusiasts and guys who'd emerged from their rooms to take advantage of Garden Hall's Spaghetti Swap Saturday, were watching Natalie toss tiny ribbons of basil into a mountain of grated Parmesan, while she explained that there wouldn't be as much of an effect from her skill because it was only 2 ingredients. "We can get you more ingredients," said the boy who'd been in charge of the meat sauce. 3 people immediately volunteered to run to the store. "She's on her way somewhere," said Cohn, who'd positioned himself at Natalie's elbow. "You can't just turn her into our cook because she stopped by." As he spoke, he was pinching some of the cheese and basil. "Alden let me have some of the lunch you made," he told Natalie. "When we were eating together on Combat Assessment Day." He casually took some more cheese. "So I'm familiar with your work. This is excellent. I think you're improving." His fingers were moving again. "He's pretending to know her to steal cheese!" "Don't believe him, cook of the moment!" "He doesn't even know Alden," said Ignacio. "Keep him away from the food." "Ignacio!" Cohn protested, shoving the cheese into his mouth. "Liar! I know him, Natalie. He has shared your food with me. I was literally on Artona 1 with him hours ago." "Do you know this person, Alden?" Hadiza asked. She was the only one who seemed to have realized he'd entered the room. Natalie's head jerked up. She was in jeans and her rabbits and radishes top. It seemed to be a favorite. Her blonde hair was pushed back from her face by her white bunny ear headband. That person? Alden smiled at Cone before turning back to Adiza, who had her own dark green rabbit ears in one hand. They matched the knee-high boots she'd tucked her pants into and the blouse she wore. Never met him in my life. Alden! How could you? Cone managed to run out of the kitchen with one more pinch of the cheese, narrowly avoiding a checker someone threw at him. Alden wished Natalie would smile. They'd ended things on a positive note. She'd smiled at him then and hooked her ankle around his, and they were definitely going to stay friends. But she was giving him a little bit of a deer-in-headlights look that was making him worried she'd gotten angry or sad about it since then. He walked over to the counter she was at, weaving around a couple of people who'd lost the ability to move out of the way. You three are inviting me to come with you? We are. There are 4 of us, actually. A guy is heading down to F with us, but I think he has to work at the event, not hang out. He just went upstairs. We wanted you to come with us and help us collect invitations to all the best rabbit clubs and parties. She smiled finally. I mean, if you can, if you want to. We didn't ask until a little while ago, and if you just got back from Artona 1, of course I'll come. You will? Great. Yeah, it sounds like fun. It sounded tiring. But this was the first thing she'd asked him to do after they'd had their conversation on the Nonagon. He'd already made up his mind to lean hard toward a yes the next time she asked him to go somewhere or do something. I don't have ears, though. Can I take Emelicia's? Oh, they'll give you some at the door, Natalie said, while Emelicia told Jeffy in Lithuanian that Alden was a serial food thief who was obviously branching out. We just wanted to make sure ours looked good with what we're wearing. Can we come up to your room and see it while you get ready? Sure. How you and Lute are there, and we have a Christmas tree. Alden didn't ask why his t-shirt wasn't good enough for what seemed like a casual event, based on the invitation he'd received back in intake. I can fly us all there on the 9-edged sun whose own mother forsakes him. It'll be faster than the ferry. That would be perfect. Natalie's pep seemed to have recovered. She hurried over to the sink to wash her hands. Do you think we can park at the top of the Nautilus, Needle? I think Sky Traffic Control is going to love it when I ask. She laughed. Almost everyone in the room seemed to lean into it. We've got a tree too, she said. I put Wobble Gobble on it. You did? I propped him up with a branch. I was hoping he'd grow into his tail feathers, but I guess not. I still like him just the way he is, said Natalie. You need to make him a friend. Life's better with friends, even if you're a paper turkey.